Hello everyone and welcome to my CS24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The Curse of Oak Island. Lagina brothers and their team finally strike gold. The team behind history's hit show The Curse of Oak Island finally strike gold on this week's episode. The first time the precious metal has ever been discovered on the island. Sneak peek footage at the end of last week's 2-hour premiere showed tests taking place on a brooch discovered during the season 6 opener. Marty Lagina was then heard saying, "We've found our first gold on Oak Island." A separate trailer for the episode, which you can watch below, also shows Marty saying, "This could be more valuable than we ever thought." Meanwhile, Dave Blankenship adds, "I want more gold than that." The sneak peek footage at the end of the Season 6 premiere showed one of the 2 red gemstones discovered on the island being described as super ancient after tests. Meanwhile, Marty was filmed telling the team in the war room, "These artifacts are pushing us back farther in time than I ever thought." Seismic testing, which has allowed the team to see underground in the Money Pit area for the first time in 2.25 centuries, was also shown continuing. A huge convoy of trucks was also seen arriving on the island as the team began efforts to construct a huge cofferdam in Smith's Cove, where medieval lead cross was discovered by metal-detecting expert Gary Drayton last season. Results of tests on the cross were the high point of the Season 6 premiere, showing that the metal it was made from did not come from North America, meaning it must have come from overseas, and could possibly have a Templar connection. Watch the trailer for this week's episode of The Curse of Oak Island below, and read our full recap of The Curse of Oak Island Season 6 premiere here. Then tune in to watch as the team finally strike gold. For over a decade, the windswept shores of Nova Scotia's Oak Island have whispered secrets, some ancient, some elusive. Legends of buried treasure, shadowy Templar knights, and unexplained artifacts have all lured the Lagina brothers, Rick and Marty, into an obsession that has cost time, money, and emotion. But now, in a stunning twist that could alter the course of history and finally validate centuries of speculation, the team has struck gold. Real gold. It began quietly one fog-draped morning in mid-August, just as dawn kissed the island's twisted pines. The team had returned to the garden shaft, that fateful vertical shaft once believed to be just another dead end in the Money Pit's treacherous maze. But this time they had new data that hinted at a corridor leading into a chamber untouched by modern hands. A corridor that, according to the metal detection scan, emitted a glint reading. That's right, not just a signal, an unmistakable glint, the kind produced by a high concentration of precious metal. "Could be a pipe," Marty Lagina muttered as he reviewed the scan, ever the skeptic. But the glint tugged at Rick's hope like a magnet to iron. "Or it could be it," he said softly, voice catching with cautious optimism. "It could be the moment." With expert drillers from Dumas and a fresh shaft dug to precise coordinates, the team bore through layers of clay, oak timbers, and waterlogged silt until they reached a strange cavity. The drill bit had struck something solid but soft, unlike stone or wood. It wasn't long before Jack Begley and Billy Gerhardt were lowered into the chamber, headlamps cutting arcs through darkness as their boots hit the loamy floor of what appeared to be a domed chamber. "I've got something here," Jack's voice crackled over the comms. "You're not going to believe this." When he emerged minutes later, covered in damp earth and shaking with emotion, he held in his gloved hand a mud-caked object. As the team crowded around, the archaeologist on call, Laird Niven, carefully rinsed it under a jug of distilled water. The glint came to life. Gold. Not a coin, not a button, but a bar. A molded, time-worn ingot of solid gold, etched faintly with symbols resembling a crude cross and lines, possibly navigational marks. The island erupted in controlled chaos. Gary Drayton's metal detector sang out like a church bell as he swept the area near the new cavity. More signals, more glints, and over the next 48 hours, The team recovered not just one, but 7 gold bars, several fragments of what may have been chalices or jewelry, and a cache of rotted wood boxes filled with deteriorated parchment, some of which bore faint ink markings that looked suspiciously like 16th century Portuguese script. "It changes everything," Rick said during a confessional filmed on the edge of the swamp, voice husky with emotion. "After all these years, to finally hold in our hands the very thing we've chased, there are no words." Marty, ever grounded, was still reeling. "It's a milestone," he admitted, "but it's not just about the gold. It's about the story. Why is it here? Who put it here? And why hide it so deep and so cleverly?" As the news spread, experts began arriving from around the world. Historians from Portugal, Spain, and even the Vatican sent emissaries to examine the finds. The markings on one gold bar bore an uncanny resemblance to a seal used by a faction of outlawed Knights Templar in the 1300s. Others believed the bars could be linked to treasure stolen from the Aztecs, smuggled north by shipwrecked conquistadors. The Oak Island team now faced a new challenge, protecting their find while navigating a storm of interest from academia, governments, and treasure hunters. The area was quickly cordoned off. Canadian authorities collaborated with the team to document and preserve the chamber, now dubbed the Chamber of the Seven. In a private conversation filmed during a night watch over the chamber, Marty turned to Rick. "Remember when everyone said this was just a myth? That we were chasing ghosts?" Rick smiled, weary but vindicated. "We weren't chasing ghosts. We were listening to history, and history finally spoke back." Craig Tester, Doug Crowell, and the rest of the team pored over old maps and logs, searching for clues that could point to who buried the gold and why it was hidden so deliberately. One document, an ancient parchment fragment found inside a rotted scroll tube, included a rudimentary map of what looked like the Western Atlantic and a phrase scrawled in Latin: "Custodes aurum silentium," guardians of the silent gold. As the camera panned over the moonlit island that night, it lingered on the team, seated around the war room table. The air was different, heavier with awe, lighter with joy. For the first time in over 2 centuries, Oak Island had given up one of its greatest secrets. Still, the island seemed to whisper that there was more. The swamp gurgled. The stone pathway near Nolan's Cross beckoned. And the ever-mysterious, triangle-shaped lot still remained largely unexplored. But for now, the team allowed themselves a moment, just one, to bask in the joy of the impossible finally made real.